I know, third Maxace video in a row. It's not that I'm working for Maxace, it's just that I have gotten my hands on a couple of Maxace knives recently. Due to the simple fact that they have been releasing designs that, that really speaks to me in one way or another. But I promise there will be some better variety after this video. So this is not your typical, Maxace zipper pouch or Maxace paper box. This is quite a bit of a different packaging, I would say. I've seen this very type of plastic casing before. I think it was the previous Hive and Corvius and perhaps some other of their larger and more expensive folders. But this is the first time that I actually get to handle one of these large boxes. And to be fully honest, I'm not quite sure I prefer this over the regular zipper pouch. I think those are quite handy. But even so, this is the one plastic box casing that the Hive 2.0 is being delivered with. There is some stickers over here that says Maxace Hive 2.0 Mokume M390. This is what the sticker looks like. So let's uncase it, perhaps. So this is what the contents look like. There is some foam inserts of sorts here. I guess that this case is sort of, perhaps it's probably waterproof as well. There is some, feels like this is protecting from water and dust, etc. As well as being very shock absorbent. So I'm not sure I would want to toss this down a river or anything, but I'm quite certain that it would be sturdy enough to withstand quite a bit of abuse and water and dust, etc. So let's take a look at the actual contents here, not starting with a knife. So we get the regular piece of cloth here, Maxace cloth with the Maxace logo. We get a lot of hardware, as we do with most of the knives from Maxace these days. So we got all small screws, we got stop pins, pivot, we got steel lock bar insert, and so on. I really do like the fact that they include this, and not only with their high-end models, but also with some of their, well, I'm not going to say cheaper models, but with some of their less expensive models as well. In terms of paperwork, so we've got this card here, which says Hive 2.0 product parameters. So we've got some specs here as well. Yeah, I will have the specs in the beginning of the video. I mean, it has already been shown, and I will go over them as well. But on this card, you will find the specifications as well. And then we've got this plastic card here, Maxace, and then some, social media, Facebook, Instagram, etc. So yeah, for whatever it's worth. And then we got the actual knife itself, and this is where it starts to get a little bit interesting. So I'm gonna remove the case for now, so that we can focus on the knife. And there is quite a lot going on with this model. Lots of little details, lots of milling, lots of interesting grind lines, etc. But this is what the Hive 2.0 looks like. And it is offered in quite a few different versions, both in terms of inlays here. This is Mokume, as stated on the casing. It's also available in Damascus, and it's also available in some sort of fat carbon with some different colors like black, blue and white, I believe. Looks kind of stylish. And then with different colors for the backspacers, like with the Damascus version you get a blue backspacer, and with the fat carbon you get I do think you get a golden backspacer or bronze colored backspacer like this one, which is kind of weird because I think the blue would have been a much better or a better matching backspacer for the inlays. And there are also some differences in terms of, let's see like this, in terms of blade finishes as well. This one is a satin finish, as can be seen here. But this specific model, the Mokume, the Damascus as well, and the fat carbon version, is also offered with a mirror polished part of the edge here. This one being the same on all 6 versions, but either mirror polish or satin version. And I don't think I've ever seen mirror polished blades from Maxace before, so that is kind of new to me. I was, from the beginning I was looking at picking up the Damascus version with the mirror polish, but I then decided to go with the Mokume and the regular satin finish, which I think is a really, really nice looking combo. It was also the only available combo from Lamnia, so I didn't have a lot to pick from, but I am quite glad that I went with this specific version of the Hive 2.0. I'm not sure about all differences between the Hive 2.0 and the original Hive, but I know that the original Hive had some inlays of sorts, like marble carbon fiber in this fuller here, and that it also had a golden flipper tab that was like removable in some sense. It was screwed on here. This one is an integral part of the actual blade. And I wasn't the biggest fan of the original Hive, which is why I didn't get one. But I was quite excited when I saw the Hive 2.0 because they changed things that made the knife much more interesting to me personally. So let's go over the specs perhaps, and then we can go into other features and design choices. So first off, actually I'm gonna start by mentioning the weight of this knife, because this feels like one of my heaviest folders. It weighs 230 grams. That is quite heavy for a folder in this size. It really is the first noticeable thing when I picked it up. I mean, it did look great and everything, but just the sheer weight of this knife I felt was almost a tad bit extreme, to be honest. 230 grams. I know that the carbon fiber version weighs around 195 grams and that the Damascus version weighs 205 grams. So this Mokume version really is on the heavy side. I would definitely not have mind if it was slightly lighter. Anyways, we got a total length here of 240 millimeters, so 24 centimeters in total length. Yes, this is not a small knife by any means. We've got a blade length of 105 millimeters, so quite a bit of blade length as well. And the close length is 135 millimeters, so 13.5 centimeters in close length, 10.5 centimeter blade length, 24 centimeter in total length. This is not a small knife. And let's take a look at the blade thickness. And looking at the blade thickness can be a little bit tricky perhaps, also because of the spine here being a little bit, ground and crowned. But the blade thickness of this one is, I believe, 5 millimeters. So it's a pretty, pretty beefy blade, no doubt about that. And the steel on this one is M390, which is also my favorite blade steels for folders and even for some fixed blades, I've got to say. Titanium frame here. We've got this pretty nice looking and matching golden backspacer with some interesting milling going on, as well as on the scales or the handle itself. This one feels a lot like some knives made by Reich, and also I was gonna say like the Scavenger from Andrea de Villiers, but then again the Scavenger is made by Reich as well. So, but it got some sort of organic or alien look or feel to it. We've got a milled pocket clip. Looks sort of like a snake or something like that, kind of organic or animal-like in some sense. Pretty good retention to it. There is no lanyard hole on this particular knife, and I definitely have no problem with that, since, well, I do not use lanyard holes, so it's not in any way a problem for me. It is a flipper, obviously, and a frame lock. The centering on this one, let's take a look here. The centering is spot on. It is dead centered, which is very, very nice. So how is the closing and opening action on this beast of a knife? So it is a heavy knife, large blade. It will not be, lightning fast in terms of opening, but it's no slouch. I mean, it does flip open quite swiftly. You don't have to, press that hard, but it is a heavy blade, no doubt about it. The closing action is, well, also due to the blade being quite heavy, it is more or less drop shot. But it's not like a pure guillotine of sorts. I mean, well, maybe that looked like a little bit like a guillotine, but it has this semi ever so slight, hydraulic feel to it. But I wouldn't put my finger, in between the blade and the scales, because, yeah, it will fall shut. So large, heavy knife with the pros and cons in terms of opening and closing action. It is a nice blade to sit and play with, but boy, would I have, liked this even better if it was like, well, 30 or 40 grams lighter. It's so, not really bulky, but just plain heavy. Anyways, this is what the opening and closing action looks like. The lockup is pretty solid at around 25-ish, 30%. No lock stick whatsoever. Like I said, it really is more or less fall shut. The balance point. This is gonna be a back heavy knife. This is where we will find the balance point. Sort of a little bit behind the finger groove here. And there is a bit of contouring going on here, and a bit of milling, as can be seen as well. But it's all nicely and smooth rounded off here, so it's not something that in any way hurts. I mean, it really is quite a comfortable knife. I've got to say that. I mean, I wear size 10 gloves, fairly large hands. Placing the knife in my hand looks like this. So you got some room here to mess around with, depending on how you want to hold the knife. Placing your thumb up here on this groove of sorts feels quite nice. Like I said, it's crowned, it's rounded, very smooth and nice. Or you can just place your thumb like this with a more further back placed hand. The ergos are, I would say that the ergos are really, really nice. And in a reverse grip, it feels quite good and, and secure for those that use their knives in a reverse grip for whatever reason you would do that. Let's speak a little bit about the blade design here. There's a lot going on here. We got this hollow compound grind recurve with some interesting lines that are perhaps not visible very well in the camera. Kind of difficult to see. But you should see that there are differences between the satin finish and this, whatever you call this type of finish, with some lines going horizontally. We also have this fuller thing here. Not sure if it's for weight relief or decoration or whatever it is. I mean, it's not for weight relief, I think, since the knife is so back heavy as it is. But there's also a bit of a different finish here on this fuller. We also, like I stated, there is no jimping or anything up here. It's nicely smooth and rounded. And then it goes into a swedge. And then it goes into a thicker part here of the tip to make it as strong and stout as possible, and with a bit of a drop point as well. See if we can get it to show. It's not super easy highlighting all the details here. See, blade plate. We didn't check for blade plate. There is absolutely zero blade plate in any direction. On the flipper tab there is a bit of jimping, but it is very, very smooth. I mean, I can feel it, so it's not non-existent, but it's, in terms of getting some traction, I'm not sure how big of a difference the jimping really makes. Perhaps a tad bit. Internal milling, let's see. So there is a bit of internal milling. Let's see here. It's always difficult to catch the internal milling. It's not a whole lot, but there is internal milling on each respective side here. So they did try to get some weight off it. Then again, like I mentioned, there is quite a bit of a weight difference between the carbon fiber, the Damascus, and the Mokume version. Quite an interesting knife, quite a unique knife. Never seen a knife quite like this one. I am liking it quite a lot. But the weight is just out of this world. It's so heavy and semi-bulky as well. But it is a beautiful piece of craftsmanship. That is for dead certain. Never really seen a knife quite like this one. I feel like the mirror polished blade would have been perhaps a little bit over the top. To be completely honest, So I am glad that I went with the version that I did go with. Let's see if we can get a close-up of the Mukume as well here. Quite shiny, gold-like. Wouldn't I mind, you know, perhaps a pocket clip in... Oh wait, perhaps... No, I wouldn't want a Mukume pocket clip. It would have been too much. This is actually... Well, I think they got the colors right on the details here with the inlays and the backspacer. I think that is just enough. So much different, you know, milling and stuff going on here. Would have been kind of cool if it was an integral, but I don't want to think about how heavy the knife would have been if that was, you know, the case. Then again, I mean, they did go with a full-length backspacer, so yeah. But it would have been tricky to make this an integral. But I mean, we have seen the Scavenger, which is, I mean, the André de Villiers Scavenger, which is an integral, roughly the same size and perhaps, yeah, even or quite a bit more complex or complicated in terms of design. So I think this is it for the unboxing, the specifications, and you know, the overall design. Definitely not something you see every day. That is for certain. As always, we're gonna try out the factory edge here and do some paper slicing using the Hive 2.0. Like I've stated before, I've never had a knife from Maxace that was not, you know, really sharp. Just different, you know, levels of excellent sharpness. So we're gonna start by slicing some regular printing paper. Then we're gonna move on to this magazine and slice some magazine paper. And then we're gonna finish off slicing up some newspaper. So regular printing paper to begin with. Let's give it a go. So I think it is the recurve part that is actually giving me a little bit of trouble. You know, the very transition here from the compound grind to the regular grind here. Let's give it another go here. Yeah, this is actually a little bit interesting. Let's see if we can do some... just go and not use, you know, the area where it goes over to the other grind. So I mean, this part is sharp, obviously I can see that, but the part, you know, right, you know, where it goes from the compound grind to the regular grind here, that is where we get a little bit of a hiccup in the paper slicing department. Let's test just this part of the edge now. So that one is also quite sharp. So, but when we go for, let's take a new paper, using lots of paper today in the name of science. So let's try once again here, see if we can, you know, get mean, individually, this edge is sharp, right? And so is this one. It is the very transition here that is making it kind of difficult, getting this nice friction-free slicing. I think I saw sort of the same results when I was using my, what's it called? The Busker Largo from Olamic. Had sort of the same, well, not really the same, but the compound grind as well. Yeah, so the knife is sharp, but it's difficult slicing paper, getting clean cuts with the paper due to this specific grind and this specific area. This very, very, let's take a close-up look here, right? That spot is making it a little bit difficult. Well, let's see, slicing some other types of paper, what we can draw for conclusions. So let's go with the magazine paper now. So I'm gonna go with the full length here of the edge first. So interestingly enough, this paper is, we're having no issues with this paper. This is more of a thin but slightly, laminated paper type. So it may not be as sensitive as the printing paper, which is another type of what should we say, paper fiber, perhaps, we could call it that. Let's go for another page here. This is why I think it's a good idea to slice different types of paper, because they have different types of properties, sort of. Yeah, so this magazine paper was, it didn't pose any problems for this specific grind here. We can do some cutting with just the compound area here. Just doing some push cuts, perhaps. And do this the same with the top here. Well, now I'm just messing up things, but the thing is that it will slice this sort of paper with ease. So I'm not 100% sure why this area is giving me problems with the printing paper, but not with the magazine paper. But I'm guessing it has to do with the paper fibers, or whatever you call it. But this one was nicely sliced up. So let's proceed to the newspaper. So here we have a piece of newspaper, and I'm gonna go with the full length again here to begin with. So this is, to me, this is a little bit surprising that we're not seeing any issues cutting the newspaper, because I definitely thought the newspaper would pose a bigger challenge of sorts. let's take a piece and just use the compound ground area here. I can use the top area. Yeah, so this is, well, it's kind of interesting, I think. So the one type of paper that gave us trouble, the only trouble really that we experienced, was the regular printing paper. Maybe I will give it one more go. So yeah, newspaper, sliced up real nice, no real hiccups or anything. The edge is sharp, all edges. Let's go with one printing paper again here. Just wanna, just wanna give it one extra go, sort of. Oh. I mean, why is this giving us trouble? Is it the thickness? Is it the fiber? Is it how it's processed? I can't really work my head around it. Like that, you know? Maybe it was my technique. It is, you know, as you can see, it is giving us a bit of trouble. And I'm not 100% sure why that is. And I don't know. Sometimes it cuts kind of clean, sometimes it does not. But it definitely has to do with the character of the paper, I would say. Let's just say that the paper slicing test is a bit inconclusive, I think is a word. So slicing magazine paper using the entirety of the edge, no problem. Slicing newspaper using the entirety of the edge, no problem. Slicing printing paper, this area poses a little bit of an issue. And I'm not 100% sure why that is. Still, like I've stated, the edge is sharp. Both edges are sharp. We have done some cutting of different types of paper. Now it's time to move on and try to cut some paracord and some different pieces of leather. And I think we're gonna start with the paracord and then move on to the leather pieces. Is this one solid piece or is it? No, it's too small. Okay, so let's start with just trying out with one single string of paracord using the compound area here. This is actually part of where the recurve comes in handy because it kind of grabs hold of the thread here so it doesn't move around a whole lot. So let's just push through here and see how it does. No big surprise cutting of that piece of paracord. We can also test well, I'm going to call it the regular edge here as well to see how that one performs as well. So let's do that. Yeah, no big surprise in that department either. So let's try to get a few strings going here. Let's take 4 of them perhaps, like this. And then we can go for the, we can place them in the recurve here part as well. So 4 pieces of paracord. Let's see how it does. Yeah, I cut them clean in half. Also kind of effortless, I would say. Let's prepare, let's go with like 4 or something like that pieces again here. Let's see. Yeah. Try to go with the regular edge here for that. And once again, it cut them all in half. It is, of course, the easiest is of course to use to place them on the recurve area. And should you need more edge, then you can just use that additional edge that you do have, so to say. Now I'm just gonna go for, I don't care much about placement. I'm just gonna try to, cut them off regardless of placement. And once again, yeah, they were all cut in half. So I guess it passes the PARACORD test with ease. One of the pros with recurve. Let's go leather. Let's see here with the leather pieces now. Yeah, let's try to pierce through and using the pretty stout tip here. And then we can use the recurve, which will keep the leather sort of in place when cutting through it. So let's get the leather down there, see if we can get in camera, and then we just go for it like this. We can of course use the regular, the main edge or whatever you want to call it, as well. Let's see, let's put this in the recurve section. Not a whole lot to hold on to, but yeah, like this. Then we just get it off like that. Let's use the main edge or the regular edge or the non-recurve edge as well. Slice the remaining. Not super easy, almost kind of frustrating to be honest. Let's take this final one with the recurve. So yeah, let's do some slicing using the entirety of the edge here. Yeah, so I mean, it will definitely cut the leather, no doubt about it. Using the recurve might make things easier, but the main edge or the regular edge works just as fine as well. So it really doesn't matter too much. Might be up to personal preferences, what you or how you prefer to work with a knife with this type of grind, so to say. Yeah, cutting leather, easy peasy. And cutting paracord was, of course, no big deal either. So all in all, this knife will cut. We have now reached the final part here of the video, showcasing the Maxace Hive 2.0. And this is a knife with a lot of stuff going on here, both in general design of the handle, and of course also design of the blade itself. I'm not going to repeat everything that I went over in the overview and unboxing segment of this video, but this is a pretty crazy knife. Great ergos, The sharpness, now that we have tested it, the knife is sharp, it will slice a lot of stuff with ease, although it did give us a little bit of trouble slicing printing paper using the entirety of the edge here. We did get small hiccups in the transition part here from the recurve to the non-recurve area of the blade. But it is a sharp knife, no doubt about it. It's also a comfortable knife, it's a stylish looking knife, and I was going to say almost, most of all, it's a heavy knife. Like I stated, the Damascus version is like 25 gram, no wait, well, let's say the Damascus version is like 20-25 grams lighter, and the carbon fiber is like 15 grams lighter than that, or perhaps even more. I don't fully remember the specific ways of each version. But this one is heavy, back heavy, I will say. So that is still something that I haven't really gotten used to, the weight of the knife. I mean, despite being a large knife, it's just, 230 grams, it is heavy, no doubt. Overall, I really enjoy the craftsmanship behind this model, the thought that went into all the small details, the materials used, the millings, just about, everything, I will say. It would have been super cool if they actually went with more of an integral version of the knife, but that would of course have made it even heavier, regardless of added internal milling. The action of the knife is super smooth. The closing action is super smooth, and the opening action is, for a knife this big with this heavy of a blade, it's still quite snappy, and the closing is more or less hydraulic. And overall, the fit and finish and quality is what you expect from a Maxace knife, and even more so of a high-end model from Maxace. They do make knives around like $60 perhaps, is probably their cheapest knives, but they also make knives up to like $800 plus. So they have quite a bit of range in terms of price. But I have always thought them to be, consistent in terms of quality control and fit and finish, and also sharpness. My cheapest knives from Maxace are super sharp, they have the same, level of sharpness as my most expensive knives from Maxace as well. Then, there might be differences in steel types used, but I do like the consistency with Maxace. So even when I buy, something cheaper from them, I still have, really high expectations. And when I buy something expensive, like this knife, I definitely expect it to be more or less perfect in, more or less every sense of the word. Crazy knife. So I'm not sure what more to say. If you like what you see, once again, then that might justify the high price. You will get what you pay for. But I will say once again that the Mukame version is it's just so heavy. I think it might be my heaviest folder of them all, and I do have some large folders in my collection. Shave off like 30 grams and it would have been perfect, in my humble opinion. But I'm probably not gonna EDC this one. Might pick it up and use it on certain occasions, etc. So I do have other lighter options if that need be. But all in all, a really unique, stylish, sharp, and interesting knife.